Hey, Andy, do you remember when you were kicked out of the park for wearing that one inappropriate T-shirt?
Oh, yeah, my Mr. Twisty and the Bandhammers T-shirts? Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of Beat the Beast, where news races the beast. Each and every week, we look at the news and trending social media topics and give our opinions of them, all before the beast hits the final brake run. I am, of course, Andrew Barchek from Chicago, Illinois, joined once again by my co-host, Dwayne Sponseller from Parkersburg, West Virginia. And this week, we are going back to our traditional format and looking at the news surrounding this week and what's happening out there. So, the first story that we're going to look at is the SkyTrek Tower at Six Flags Great America, that this past weekend on Sunday, the ride did come to a very abrupt halt. Oh, wait a minute. You almost got me. You tried to. I saw that.
I did. I was going to wait, but I was going to let you keep going.
We, of course, have to race the beast, so let's put that clock up there, the 4 minutes and 10 seconds, and there you see it. So, starting all over again, this week at Six Flags Great America, we saw that the SkyTrek Tower got stuck about midway up the pole. That SkyTrek Tower is very similar to the old Space Needle Space Spiral at Cedar Point. It's not the double-decker version, just a single rounded version that seats about 80 people or so. And it did get stuck on the ride. Now, there were rumors out there that said that the ride actually became a drop tower and fell at an abrupt speed. Six Flags did come out this week and deny that rumor, saying that did not happen. They said that it probably, unless there was a catastrophic failure, that it could not do that they basically compared the SkyTrek Tower to an elevator system. And at some point during the ride, the secondary braking system, encountered some sort of error, and the secondary braking system engaged, stopping the tower on the pole before it could continue its descent down. The riders, though, I don't know if I could do this, Dwayne, because they had to climb up out of the cabin and into the center pole and be evacuated down that way. I don't know. That sounded more harrowing than any part of the ride ever, having to climb up out of it, basically be out there and then climb into the pole and then down the pole. I'm not sure if there was a lift system in there. I don't know if they had to climb down a ladder. I don't know what happened there. I don't ever want to find out, though, personally. I don't think I could deal with it.
Well, it took over 2 hours for this to actually get them evacuated, and they said, of course, it was going to take some time because they want to do it slowly. I've heard people say that it's a ladder. I've heard people say it's a lift system. I've heard people say it's a staircase. The story says it's a staircase. Do we really know what's in there? No. But to be honest with you, I do not care. It's just like every other time that a coaster or a ride gets stuck, and the news says, oh, no, it's a terrible ride, and you should ride it because it's dangerous. No, it's still much safer for you to get in a coaster car or a ride cabin than it is for you to walk outside in your street or walk your dog or, for heaven's sake, get in your car and drive to the grocery store.
Yeah.
And secondly, I really could care less because with these type of rides, it can be just like the space one at Cedar Point and go, because I think they're a waste of time and money. Just like my favorite ride of all time.
You and the the Windseeker Emergency Evacuation System, the WEES. That looks scary too. I'll be honest, these things, we hear a lot now about ride stoppages, and every single week on the news, a new ride is stopping on the lift hill. They're meant to do that it's safer for the ride to do that because it's detecting an error in the system, and it's stopping you on the lift before anything bad can happen. Yeah, it's scary to have to be evacuated from a ride. There's a few rides in the world that I would never want to be evacuated from. The thought of being evacuated from the top of Millennium Force, being at the very apex of the hill, and having to come down. Or Fury. No, thank you. No, thank you. I never want to have to do that. But if you have to do it, it's safer than continuing on the track, more likely than not, because there's an error on the track somewhere. So in general, thank God for these systems. Thank God that they're still detecting it, and it's really not a news story other than the fact that it's really scary because people have to get down. And there it is. Whew. So we obviously did not beat the beast that time. But Dwayne, you're gonna introduce us to our next story, and just let me know when I should start that clock.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and put up that 4-minute and 10-second clock here for our second news story of the week. And this one comes from the Southwest. Now, we don't talk a lot about the Southwest here on the Beat the Beast, but one of the major rides that people have been looking forward to out there is Cannibal at the Lagoon Park. And there's been a lot of rumors out there, and also the parks come out and said, well, we're going to have to delay the opening. We're really not ready for it yet. We're still doing the progress with testing and with making sure that everything looks right and it rides right. But then we got news here a couple of days ago that all of a sudden now they've kind of opened the ride to testing with riders on it. So we've had soft opening. And so what's really interesting here, and everyone's really excited. I've seen kind of cell phone videos of people trying to get coming out of the little building at the top and going through it. It does look like a very innovative, creative coaster and something that the Southwest definitely needs. The only issue that I have, Andy, is it's at a park that's far away from everything else. And unless you're just, in that area, is it going to be worth going to this park for this ride? Because the Lagoon really doesn't have much else other than that. I mean, they have a few things, but if this is going to be the coaster that tries to get people in, is it still enough because of where it's located? I'm not so sure. I mean, I agree that it's probably going to be worth some of the people like Danny, for example, who's going to be going down to get a coaster credit. But if it were me, I'm not just going to travel to Lagoon to ride this coaster because it's not something that I do. But I am excited to see the pictures and the videos of it and to hear what the reviews are once they actually open the ride. Andy?
Well, I think, I find it interesting, too. The first point I want to make is that this is just another example of social media gone crazy a little bit. That we saw it with the SkyTrek tower story, that people on social media started saying that it was dropping at a high velocity, that it started falling. Here, a lot of rumors started going out there on social media saying that it wasn't going to open until next year even, that there were problems because remember, Cannibal was built in-house. It was not built by any typical ride manufacturer. So a lot of people were beginning to question whether or not this ride would actually open. And it's just another example of social media gone wild, that once one person on there starts with it, a lot of people start piling on, start retweeting it, start sharing it on Facebook, and now we have these unfounded rumors and people accepting them as facts. So that's issue one. Issue two is, to your point, Lagoon has 10 roller coasters. There's a few unique things there. Wicked is a launch coaster that seems to be a pretty unique ride, kind of similar to the old launch coaster at King's Dominion. Not exactly like it, but it gives me that same feel to it. There's a Vekoma suspended inverted ride. There's a lot of like kiddie coasters. Nothing that really jumps out at you as being like, oh my God, I need to go there. However, a lot of people are excited about Cannibal, and a lot of people started saying, well, maybe Cannibal's that ride that moves Lagoon into the next echelon of parks, something that a lot of enthusiasts feel that they kind of have to do now. Before the ride lineup was not bad at all, but now with Cannibal plus a decent sized ride lineup, I think you might be talking about something, Lagoon being a place that a lot of people are going to start going if Cannibal turns out to be as good as some people think it's going to be. That time I do believe we beat the beast absolutely with a few seconds to spare. I know our record's not been very good against the beast. I need to start making that record a little bit better here. But our next story, let's put that clock back up there, the 4 minutes and 10 seconds. This one is funny to me. Alton Towers put out a T-shirt this week that has come under fire. That you saw at the beginning of our show, we kind of joked about some inappropriate T-shirts. Not the first park to have a T-shirt controversy of whether or not to let people in or versus what they're actually selling. This one, in the case of Alton Towers, there's a T-shirt for girls that says "Ride Me." And some people are calling it a little bit provocative. And on the other side, some people are saying that the T-shirt is provocative and also sexist because the male version of the shirt, now they also have right next to it, there's a male version that says "Ride It." Now, I don't know if that's any more or less provocative than the girl version. Obviously, the girl version is way more in your face out there. The "Ride It", it's a double entendre, obviously. The girl version is a little bit out there. I'm not one to be a prude about things. I find things like that somewhat funny as opposed to being inappropriate. But however, I do see how some people could be offended by it. But Alton Towers came out and made a statement and said, hey, guys, this is an adult T-shirt. We're not producing them in little kid sizes. You can't buy them in youth sizes. So it's not like we're trying to peddle this stuff to little kids. They're adult-sized T-shirts. They're made for that market. Obviously, some teenagers are going to fit into them, and that's what I think people are questioning here. Dwayne, what do you think about it? About not only the provocative nature of it, but also maybe even the sexist nature of it as well.
I agree. I agree with some of the people who say that it's provocative. It is. But here's the thing. We're not talking about American Park here, but it is a free country. It is over there. So, are they allowed to sell it? Yes. It's the park. They can do what they want. If it's deemed, where it's got something so bad that it shouldn't be put out there, no. They're using a play on words. And they even come out and say in the article, too, that it's part of their, I don't know I forget what word they use, like hippie line or whatever. Kind of not the goth line, but the different line, not everyday use line. So I think they come out and say that as well, that they're trying to defend the fact that, hey, we can sell this shirt. It's selling. People are buying it. If it weren't buying it, then we would take it off the shelves. But they're not going to take it off the shelves just because a few people, all right, say that it's offensive. Look, it doesn't matter what shirt you put out there. Someone's going to be offended by it one way or another. And this just kind of puts it up there because people are saying, well, that says "Ride Her." Well, that's really bad. I don't want that to be on my daughter or son. Well, guess what? Don't buy it. Yeah, as simple as that. I agree that you're not running that business. You can't go to that business and say, I don't want you to sell it. Just don't go inside of that shop. Don't go buy that shirt. That's my opinion. If you don't like it, don't do it. All these people out there who want to say stuff, they want to say stuff when they really don't have any business saying anything. But yet, it's always about, well, I think that the nation would be better off if this company didn't exist. Well, guess what? It's a free country. Yeah. They have free enterprise. And I can have this business. I can sell this as long as it's not illegal.
And the best way to vote is with your wallet book and with your pocketbook. And if you don't like it, don't buy it. And just to throw this out there, Alton is not the only park to do this. I've seen stuff like this at Six Flags, at Cedar Point. There's a whole bunch of double entendres out there, theme park goods, and that time we did not beat the beast, but it's out there, and you know what? I think it's kind of funny, actually. And if a girl wants to buy it, if a guy wants to buy it. I have no problem with it. Maybe their parents do, and maybe their parents should get involved and say, no, you can't wear that outside. But hey, like you said, it's a free country, and England used to own us, and I think that they are a free country too over there too. So,
they are now.
So for the last segment today, we have a little game. So why don't you explain what we're going to do with our game today?
Okay, today we're going to play hit or miss.
Ooh.
So swing that bat, Andy. We're going to find out if you're going to be able to hit it or if you're going to miss it. So what exactly are we going to do for our topic? Well, just yesterday, okay, of course, it's going to be a few days before this one's put up, so probably sometime last week or a few days ago.
Yeah.
Fast and the Furious opened up in California. And what I want to do, what I'm going to ask you here, Andy, is do you think that this ride, and they had this big opening, I believe they had Vin Diesel there to open it up. He had the big bolt cutters, and they cut the chain, and usually have a ribbon cutting. This time we had a chain cutting. And but do you think that this ride is going to be a swing and a home run for the park, or do you think it's going to be a complete strikeout with all the guests who are going to be expecting something coming into the park? Your thoughts?
Well, let's start that clock right now. So there we go. We start the clock. You know what? I'm torn on this one. I think Fast and the Furious is a hit. I think the concept of having that property being as huge as it is right now, I can't believe how popular that movie franchise is. I think it's a hit. What I'm not sold on is the idea of putting it onto the studio tour. That the studio tour is the longest running ride at Universal Studios. It takes you through all this different stuff. There's different portions where you see backlots. You see there's a King Kong 360 portion on that already. And now Fast and the Furious is the end to all of that. Now, the story that we have posted here talks about some of the backstage, some of the creation of it, and it all sounds really awesome. Like what they're actually doing with it sounds like a really awesome ride system. It sounds like a great finale to the studio tour, and that's kind of the reason they said that they wanted to do it, is they want to have the studio tour to have this awesome finale that was a bona fide hit. I think it's really cool. I just wonder, though, in the back of my mind, would it have been better to do as a standalone ride? And, the problem is I think the tendency for Universal would be to make another dark ride like Transformers. And I think there would be a lot of similarities between Transformers and Fast and the Furious. And maybe they felt it would be too similar. And that's why putting it onto the studio tour makes it different. I don't know. What do you think, Dwayne? I'm going to say it's a hit because of the franchise.
I'm going to say it's a miss. A big swing and a miss, too. And I'm talking if the ball's here and I'm hitting way up here, I'm swinging. Because here's why. Because it's not a standalone ride. And I'm glad you already said that, because it just kind of puts my point even farther, that I believe that a ride like this, if you've got a franchise like Fast and Furious, think about it. What are we up to, 8, 9 movies now? I don't even know. It's amazing how many films have been made about this, and it seems like it's a car theme. People love fast cars. They like hot guys and fast cars, all right, and wrecks and, drama, and that seems to actually be good on the film. And I think that they should use that and have put it in as a standalone ride. Now, I understand that they might not have had the ideas or the room or the innovations to do it. So if it's a good thing for the end of their theater tour, absolutely, or their tour, I agree that it is. And I'm glad they're doing something with it. But I think that people are just going to say, it's just another part of this one ride. It's not going to be what they want it to be. And I think it's just going to be a complete swing and a miss in regards to what what the guests are going to think about it.
Now, it's interesting that you brought that up, because I do think Universal has a little bit of space issues. That is a working backlot, so they actually film stuff there. And what we saw happen with King Kong was that they put King Kong on the studio tour, and then down in Florida, they're actually giving King Kong its own ride completely, which you all know my feelings about that already, so I don't want to get into that.
Love it.
So, I think it's a fantastic idea. But maybe that's what they're doing here. Maybe they're testing the waters again, putting the property into Universal City, and then moving it down to Orlando to actually do a complete standalone ride. Maybe that's what they're doing. I think it's going to be. And there you go. I agree with you. I would have preferred a standalone ride, but I don't think it's going to be a terrible experience as part of the studio tour. Maybe even raise the ridership of that already. It's already their most popular ride, so I don't know how much higher you could make it go. But anyway, that brings us to the conclusion of another Beat the Beast episode. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode as well. As always, we have a lot of fun. I'm, of course, Andrew Barchak from Chicago, Illinois.
I'm Dwayne Sponseller from Parkersburg, West Virginia. Make sure you go out there and buy those inappropriate T-shirts. Just don't wear them outside.
Yeah.
And as always, may the Q lines be ever in your favor.
Right on, Ride Warriors. Is that provocative? I don't know. Maybe I need to change my tagline, too. Uh-oh! See you next time.